Welcome back, everyone, to Ask the Collective 007. Cue music. My name is Rich Brubaker. I'm the founder of Collective Responsibility, and it's great to have you back. Before we jump into this, we have some great questions about basically the future of jobs, robots, and a continuation of how to develop your career in sustainability. Before I get into that, I actually want to talk about the fact that the last week for me has been really interesting because after 12, 15 years of being in this industry, starting off as cute and, oh, Rich, you're such a nice guy because you're doing all this stuff. The conversations I'm having about where industry is moving is really showing me that the dedication that I've put in for the last 10, 12, 15 years on these topics is becoming business. This isn't becoming an add-on. This isn't becoming a nice to do. This is becoming business. If you are an HR and you need to attract millennials, sustainability, social innovation projects, a great way to do that. If you're in supply chain labor, the future of your job is all about understanding the human needs, understanding material restrictions, understanding where you're wasteful from an environmental as well as from a material standpoint, and bring that all together. And then some amazing new projects coming online where you have the ability to look at cities entirely differently. And this is stuff that we never would have done, or you would have done kind of 15 years ago in a lab, and people would have thought that was kind of cute and funny. But this is becoming real, and so I really hope that through these Q&As that you can ask me the questions that you are looking at either right now or off into the future. Like, what's your vision and how can we help you answer a question, maybe even just to self-validate your own confidence? Because along the way, we need that. Along the way, we really need to double check, is our vision in the right spot? Are we committed? Are we looking in the right position? Are we scaling up in the right way? And that gets to the two questions I'm about to answer, but it also just gets back to the general trend and the reason why we're here talking to you. Because if it weren't for the community, we would not continue to be moving forward. So it's really a pleasure to be having you, the 32, 52, 83 different viewers who are here. Let's continue discussion, and let's remember that every day is another step forward. We're getting closer. So thank you very much for watching. Remember, if you like it, please share it. If you can, please send us a comment on a Q&A, because we'd be happy to answer your own particular questions. We hope that you enjoy this show.
Karen Hartman asks, okay, so robots are taking our jobs and the world's production systems are set to self-destruct. How can a career in sustainability be a lifeline for the individual and society as a whole? And what skills does a junior high or high school student need to develop to get started?
Thank you very much for your question, Karen. Really appreciate it. Hope all is well on the West Coast and that your re-entry back into the States has been a smooth one. You're asking a very large question about two, what I consider to be separate topics, so I'm going to cover them separately. One is robots and jobs, and the other one is a career and sustainability for 5, 15, 25-year-old. First off, robots. Last year, we worked on the United Nations International Labor Organization's Future of Work report. We'll link it below. It's something I definitely believe you should read, along with a couple of the other studies, say from Oxford and the recent one from WEF and McKinsey. There's a lot of talk about robots and when we're going to lose jobs and automation. And what we found in that report, and we were looking specifically at manufacturing jobs, not the service, was that robots are still going to take a long time to really come into the manufactured supply chains for a large portion of industry. Now, I must say that even though we spoke to 40 to 50 factory owners, brands, and industry experts, in the 12 months since we've completed that report, things have sped up. And so actually now we're re-engaging with a lot of these individuals to figure out where are things now, because what we're finding is the technology is getting much cheaper. The labor is getting much more expensive, and so there's a lot more chatter. But I wouldn't worry about robots taking over the vast majority of jobs in, say, the next 5, 10, 15 years. It's going to be very industry specific, very functional specific. So, the robots, they can do cut and sew fabric at length, but they have a real tough time getting around here. They can work with microwaves and refrigerators, but they can't work with mobile phones. So it's really going to be dependent upon the industry. It's something that we're very closely paying attention to. It's something that I, as a father of a 5-year-old, I'm also asking myself this, but in a different sense as well. So I'm going to pivot here a little bit and talk about the fact that while we were doing this report, the thing that kept sticking out to me was that automation and robotics at the factory floor, which is what a lot of people are focused on, is one condition. But if you start talking about the educated jobs, bankers, lawyers, accountants, computer programmers, or cab drivers, bus drivers, truck drivers, those fields for me, those are the ones that I was like, wow, this is where we need to be paying very close attention. Now, knowing a little about you and your family, knowing a little bit about your background and the education, the quality of education that you've been, putting into your children, I don't think that you're necessarily worried about the driver's side of this. So I'll speak a little bit about bankers, accountants, lawyers, and that side. I'm really curious to figure out how we skill up from here. Not just we as parents, but as educators in general. Because as a professor as well, I can tell you very clearly that most business schools, most schools in general, unless they're in the engineering department, they're not looking at this. They're not really understanding like how this is all going to impact the education system, and then therefore how the teachers have to change. So if there's one thing I would tell you is that as someone who is probably, you're already asking this question, so you must be concerned on some level, you as a parent need to really pay attention to what you're going to teach your child. I ask this question a lot to my friends who are in this sector, and I come away with a few things that I think that we need to make sure all of our kids have. One is going to be coding. Coding is something that even if they're not coders, they need to respect and understand the code so that they can build themselves up for the next career. If you're going to be a banker, if you're going to be a lawyer, an accountant, you're going to need to know code as much as you know regulation and net present value formulas. The second thing is human design, empathy, working with people, be it the elderly or designing products. This is not something that an algorithm is just going to kick out. They're going to need the people who are curious about human insights, and that's going to be really important. And then creatives, and I guess creative kind of flows along through all of this. Again, you don't have to be an artist, but you have to know the tools. So for me, these are kind of three things that I think are really important that I take forward. And an active love of learning, I think, is also very important from the education standpoint. But then on the human standpoint, the individual, we have to start teaching our kids and our students to get comfortable being uncomfortable. The days of sitting idle and watching Lost at night and having your 9 to 5, they're going to be gone very soon. You're going to have to constantly improve yourself, constantly learn, constantly understand that you're involved in a market where you are constantly in competition, and it's up to you as the individual to keep yourself above, at par, or below the line. And I think that that's something that's really important. To do that, we need to start baking in confidence and constant challenges where the individual is building up their confidence. Because that's what's going to carry people through in the hard times. It's that, I think some people call it grit. But I think confidence allows you to have the grit, allow them to see things, allow them to feel confident in themselves, that they understand where there's a gap, and that they have the tools, be it code, empathy, human design, PowerPoint, whatever it may be, to then execute on their vision for how things are going. Now, to answer the second part of the question, sustainability as a career. I think that this can be, I still don't know where this falls, and I think you probably got a little bit from that from the last one. I would not recommend that students go to school to get a sustainability degree. I would much rather them go get a natural history degree, or a biology degree, or a environmental economics degree, or something that's super technical, but that can also cut across the domain of supply chain, product design, communities, things that are real skills, not topics. I think that is something that we really need to look at. But I'm going to go back down to the student, or the person that you're concerned with has to have a passion for something that they view as worth saving. And so I really one of the things I'm struggling with is, like, at what point do we move from a consumer-centric economy to a human needs economy? When do we stop selling wants as needs? And when do we start building economy around actual needs? When that happens, everything is sustainability. So then, knowing what the challenges are, backing that up into what the pain points are, who those pain points are affected by, and then what the solutions are. That's going to be sustainability, but that's going to be business too. That's going to be product development. That's going to be all kinds of traditional industries, just with a different lens. So I guess at the end of this, to maybe try and bring these together, I think that we need students and our children to really understand the world around them. They need to be cross-functional. They can't just be one silo, 9 to 5. They need to be able to engage with others and be constantly curious. They need to have deep skill sets in technology, in design, and many factors that allow them so that when they walk into a room or when they walk into a challenge, they have the confidence and the self-awareness to execute on what they believe is the solution. Be it they have a vision that goes 10 years out, or they're literally just trying to fix what's right in front of them in the next 3 to 5 hours. I'm pretty confident to say that all that's going to change in the next 3 to 6 months. So I tell you what, after we finish the next round of research, I promise that I'll come back to this question. I'll try and update the answer, because for me, I'm constantly trying to learn. Even though I'm in the middle of these conversations, I'm still looking for answers. But these are some of the core tenets that I'm taking away that I hope really help you, or at least maybe we can start a discussion following that. So thank you very much for your question. I hope it's all well with your family, and I look forward to continuing the engagement.
Natalia Muszynska asks, without previous documented experience, it feels like there are no palpable chances to get involved within the sustainability sector. Employers are not willing to give a chance to passionate people, according to my experience. How do I start from there?
All right, Natalia, thank you very much for your question. And I mean, the reason why I'm answering it this round is because we just covered how to get a job in sustainability. And I think first off, I'm going to disagree with you. What you just described is exactly why I speak to students and people who are interested and come up to me at a presentation and say, go get a job at a nonprofit. Now, I don't know if you're still in school, if you're a mid-career professional, what your personal circumstances may be, but you always have extra time to volunteer. It could be a couple hours a week. It could be as a 6-month secondment, fellowship, internship. It could be making a decision to take the next 2 years out of your life and making an investment into an issue that you are personally passionate about. And that's where it starts. Nothing sells me more than someone who's deeply passionate. I don't really care about the skills usually. As long as I believe that there's a general level of intelligence and intent to learn. Passion and a convincible amount of intent that they plan on being committed to that passion is often step one for me. That's my first screen. Do you give a shit? And if so, will you maintain that passion for the 2 years, 3 years, 10 years that we have the opportunity to work together? I won't speak for everyone in the industry, but I believe that that's true of many conversations, many hiring managers. Second is depth of knowledge, not skill sets, but depth of knowledge. How well do you know the issue that you are passionate about? Do you know the challenges of the water cycle? Do you know, if you're working at farms and water, what the relationship is to urbanization and water? Do you know what the relevant solutions are for drip irrigation, for membrane, for gray recycling? How deep do you know all those issues and the solutions? And then finally, what skill sets can you bring? Is it marketing? Is it stakeholder engagement? Is it innovation? Like what's the skill set that you're going to bring? What's the new thing? What's the valuable thing that you can bring to the organization or to the individual that you want to work with? So start with that, but be really clear. And I think clarity is super important here, not just about what issue it is or how you want to be involved, but also who you want to work with. And then you just target them. If you really want a career in that space, and sustainability, let's be clear, is not a space. Energy is a space, urbanization is a space, community engagement is a space, education is a space. If you want a job in that space, don't give up. Keep knocking on doors. Find 100 people on LinkedIn in your city. Wherever you are, look at water. You'll see 300 people who are second degree to you. I mean, you found me on LinkedIn, right? So go find all the second degree people, third degree people, go find the meetups, go to events. Put yourself in the middle of the people and the action and start learning, and then start offering your help. And then when people say, I can't pay you, you go, I don't care. Because it's an investment in myself, investment in my career, and investment in what I believe will be a long-term path to where I'm a solution provider. So it sounds easy. It requires patience. It requires commitment. But everything that's worthwhile does. And I think that's the thing that we need to really start thinking about differently. There are no quick solutions. There are no shortcuts. It's a long process. It's one that you have to be committed to. But again, if you have an issue that you're super passionate about, all that goes away. And it feels easy because every morning you wake up 6:30, 7 o'clock going, I'm ready to take on the world. And when you go to bed at 4:30 the next morning, like I normally do, you don't feel tired. You're kind of pissed that you have to go to sleep. And when it's that, even though it's challenging and it's, like you're losing your hair and like you're giving up other things, it feels easy. And that's exactly what you want it to be. That's why you have to find the issue that you're committed to. That's why you have to go get depth of experience. That's why you have to work out what skill sets you are. And that's why you have to surround yourself with great people. Because if you don't have that, you should just go get a job that pays you the bills so that you can donate a little bit of money long term. You can do like the Warren Buffett model. Go make a bunch of money, give half of it away and feel better, feel fulfilled later on. So I wish I could help you. I don't know exactly what you're looking for, but go back to LinkedIn, find 50 people in your city, contact them, buy their coffee, find a way to connect with them as your starting process. And then check in. Let me know if there's ways that we can help you. Or just keep leveraging up those relationships, because that's where it all starts. So good luck with your career. Good luck finding that first step. And if we can be of any assistance, please let us know.